Good afternoon once again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a video that should have been up months ago. I do apologise, I was trying to track down some footage. I got some, but not all of it, so I'm not going to be able to cover every matchup. But here are 15 of the 16 first round matches in the Race of Champions. Started out with Cleo versus Danielson, and it was in Azerbaijan, as you can see. Danielson in the Ferrari there, making a little bit of an error there, followed up by this one in Abu Dhabi. He would try and beat Cleo here to stay alive, and luckily for him, with a bit of lag I think there, he gets through, overtakes the Red Bull of Cleo, the British driver of course, and gets to this third round. Sudden death for both of them. Further lag though, connecting between Britain and Australia caused all sorts of mayhem. As you can see, the Williams flying off track. The Haas waited for the Williams, but unfortunately it had to be rerun, and this was the only pass in the rerun. Cleo getting by on the long straight and taking the first scalp of the tournament. Aaron Webb had a pretty easy run in Spain against Waffles in the first battle they had. The second battle was not so easy though. Look at this, around the outside in Singapore. This is one of the better battles I witnessed during the series. Not quite the battle of the round, we'll get to that later, but look at that switchback by the Renault. Fantastic driving, almost turning across Waffles there in the Haas, but I think respectfully given the position back, and around the outside goes Waffles and retains the lead for now, but it wouldn't be for long. A bit wide in turn one, and that was all Aaron needed to get through and become the first American through into the second round. Another American here is Ninja, who's riding on board with him in the Toro Rosso, fighting the only New Zealander in the competition, who is Murph. Unfortunately for Murph, the rear of his prancing horse flicks out and he loses that opening round there in Austria. Now, there's another Ferrari on show here, but in Monza, Tifosi will not be happy because there's been contact. The Haas did wait up, very good sportsmanship by Murph, but that was enough for Murph to see it through to this Russian Grand Prix, the third round. They both jumped the start. If either one of them didn't, they would have been guaranteed the victory here. In the most bizarre race I watched, they both enter the pits at the end of the first lap. However, it would be Ninja that would hold on to the lead and eliminate Murph. Now it was Hootius versus Mozza in the first wet race of the Race of Champions. Unfortunately, just like Ninja and Murph before him, Hootius jumped the start, so had to take the Force India through the pits, and that would be an easy win for Mozza, who backed it up with a further victory at home in Australia. That would be Hootius out, unfortunately. Now we move on to two Australians, HSV and Sprints. HSV taking the first of the two battles there in Britain, followed up by this nice pass here in Suzuka. But that would not be the end of it, because into turn one he catches the grass, goes wide, and Sprints goes back through. HSV did not give up though, and he followed the Renault driver into the hairpin. Well, that's an interesting mistake. I haven't seen that made before, but he gets it going, and the next lap, lock up for the other driver, and could this be around the outside? Not quite. All loss of traction for the Renault, and Sprints has given the lead back to HSV. Sprints now pushing hard to keep his chances alive, and Spin's coming out of Spoon, and that would be the end of him. This was the battle of the round, and there was a video, which will be in the description linked, of the full thing. Mad battle between vFINGERS and Mystic. It was a shame one of them had to be knocked out in the first round, because they really deserved to get further, both of them. It continued from Spa to Malaysia. This Malaysian one had to be rerun though, because of contact in the very final corner. We're about to see it here, and we couldn't decide who was at fault, so we reran the race, and just like the previous iterations, they were side by side for most of it. Mystic could pull ahead and eliminate the unfortunate vFINGERS. Now I'm on board with Viper here as he goes through the chicane in Monaco, completely untouched by his opponent HONESTCROOKK, and Crook there in the second round making a little error in the last corner at Silverstone, and that was enough to have him eliminated. Talking of errors, Gizzy has gone far too deep into Rascasse and given Kart-Dude a fairly easy victory, and in the wet as well. Kart-Dude streaks away and eliminates Gizzy. We're back in Austria once again. This is a good battle between Bozza and Andy. Several overtakes made in this one. Andy in the Renault trying to get past the Sauber of Bozza. Two Aussies going at it once again. Nothing doing there. Good exit though. Can he get him into the next turn? Good respect between both drivers, no collisions. Unfortunately for Andy though, he would lose it in the last sector, and that would be enough for Bozza to take the first of the 3 matches. We moved on to Hungary, and around the outside, great move by Bozza. Williams down the inside into turn 2, and on the grass, oh dear. So that would allow the Haas of Andy to come through and take victory, meaning it was 1-1 going into the Texas race. Contact there, but Bozza remains behind until going past towards turn 1. Andy tried to fight back, but unfortunately lost the rear. A little bit of contact through the S's, and that was enough to eliminate him from the tournament. Next was Hellbent and Eric. Hellbent made a little mistake on the exit of that sweeper, allowing Eric through, and the mistakes continued unfortunately for the Sauber, and he could not keep up. In Suzuka, similar mishaps happened. Must have been a bad night for him, and a fairly good one by comparison for Eric. This is my battle with Loopy, the second of the British drivers. One got through, that was Cleo earlier, but Loopy not having the same success here in Abu Dhabi, as I got around him and was unchallenged in that particular race. He wasn't giving up though in his home Grand Prix in Silverstone, but unfortunately got a bit wide there in the sweepers, and that was enough for me to come through and take a 2-0 victory. Another 2 heavy hitters here. It would be a very big surprise to have one of these guys eliminated in the first round under normal circumstances, but when they have to, when they're up against each other, it's going to happen that way. It's Stylen and Rafa, Romania versus Australia, and these are 2 of the best guys in league racing from the past. Oh, bit of contact there. Lucky to get away with that. Oh, Stylen's gone wide, and Rafa's going to go around the outside of PK corner and take that first race. Side by side once again here in Malaysia. Stylen needs this one to stay in the competition. He's maintaining the lead with that Mercedes. Red Bull's looking around the outside into turn 1. Rafa all the way around, can he make it? Not quite. Nice defence from Stylen. Although Rafa's going for turn 4 as well. The grass won't give him any traction though. And Stylen will maintain the lead for that one, sending it to a 3rd and final round. Will the wet affect the result of this one? Oh, difficult to say. But Stylen has definitely got into the side of the McLaren, and that was the end of his tournament. We're on board here with Excalibur as he fights Zenith, the 3rd and final British competitor. Unfortunately for Excalibur, Zenith proved a little bit too quick for him and won both of the first 2 events. This is Dubsy versus MainEvent, and there's a lot of lag involved in this one, I gotta say. Dubsy tried to go around the outside of Scari, could not make it happen, in fact losing the front of the car, and would lose the opening round, unfortunately for him. Of course, not giving up. Around the outside he goes at Mexico. He really needed that, and he goes on to record the victory here in this second one, as MainEvent spins off with a little bit of contact once again. Lag could not be helped, but Dubsy, a surprise elimination in the first round, losing it in Baku, and that would ensure MainEvent got through. Now got kidbyers and Jason here. These guys were both reserves called into action, so it was a really good battle to see, in China at least. Down the inside, nothing happening there for Jason, as the Mercedes fights the manner, not usually seeing these 2 cars on the same piece of track. Nevertheless, around the outside this would be a great move if he could pull it off. Not quite, in fact almost getting his nose chipped off. Going for a dive bomb, oh, bit of contact. Gee, I wonder if kidbyers wasn't too happy with that. Although, he does come back through. And this is lap 3, heading towards the hairpin for the final time. Very exciting stuff down the inside. Who's going to get this? Still side by side, 1 corner to go. Oh, the hand's gone up. This is so dramatic. And around the outside by kidbyers, he's off the track, but he will maintain the momentum and take the Chinese race. He's behind them in Baku. following him through the castle section. And oh, the Toro Rosso's backwards. Jason's clipped the wall, and that surely means he's done, and kidbyers is progressing here. Unfortunately, I had no footage from Brian and fifild. Brian won that 2-0. So that was the first round of the Race of Champions recapped for you there. I hope you can join me next time when I recap the second round, the round of 16. Goodbye.